saying there are other things other than helping us find money that would be helpful if you're trying to be helpful.
No, but I mean like maybe fundraising. Because fundraising can also raise awareness. What would you like me to help you with?
All right, the second, I don't know, but let me tell you, there are plenty of times when I'm doing stuff where I'm like, if we had another, so
Okay,
I'll have to,
how about I get back with you?
I was gonna say, I'll have to think of those things as I'm not in the middle of doing other
Very
things.
good. That's what I like to hear because people always want to help me. They never ask me what I need help with, and it's not helpful if they just try to help and not ask.
Okay.
Will do. I'll leave my information with
Microphone.
What chair from here?
Oh, I definitely don't want a chair. I think I brought the car that doesn't have the chair that I used to sit
There's
in.
something in the ground here.
Well, ignore it.
I mean, like there's some burrows.
Ignore it and it will ignore us.
Yes. But I mean, like it's cool because there's like.
I'm sure it's very cool. We will have to think about it later though, because
Yeah.
cannot afford to be distracted. Got to make this toy work.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh. All right. So you appear to be connected. Connected. Appear to not have any power other than the thing, which is I expect. Windows sound control panel. No sound settings. Manage sound devices, that's the one. Well, can you give me the fancy version of manage sound devices?
So, this pedal doesn't go with this keyboard.
Well, that's mostly your problem.
Yeah, I think I'll turn up the reverb on my channel. Effects. Let's see.
High, low, middle.
Effects sound.
All right, the aux 1 and 2 related to any of the effects? I don't see specific effects.
Ooh.
Usually I see it in a different place, you know?
Yeah. Well, just practice holding down the keys a little bit longer.
Do you want to work with the soundboard?
I mean, probably. Right now, though.
I like that idea. One script at the podium. I like that.
I read that story, children's story last Sunday at the office from and I was like, hi, how are you? It's so good to look at you. Could you tell I had this moment? Because you have long hair. I couldn't wear mine down. It's just I just have too much hair. But I think your hair long. You've never had it long. No. Yeah. I was just watching.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, let me bust some bits. So when she gets here, you'll see. Yeah. So she's at my house practicing because her ukulele string broke yesterday, and she was going to a graduation party. Of one of her best friends from Utica. she was going to the Alexis graduation party.
Oh,
right?
wonderful.
For Mike.
Nicole is
Yeah,
graduating.
and so
Oh
she
my
didn't have
God.
time to replace it, so she is at my house playing my ukulele.
Oh, you have one?
I have it. My students.
So we are gonna need a mic for the instrument.
Yes, please.
All right, so not the bad news.
Alright, should we do it?
Listen, where do they go?
So Chloe, I told her
We're gonna wanna make copies.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Of these so that they're copied, back to front, and then cut them.
Okay.
Melissa, I like your buzz.
Thanks.
I like it. Chloe buzzed her hair too.
The computer's not seeing the Motu.
Did you put the driver in it?
The driver is clearly there because I've got the thing up on the computer, and which is why I know it's not seeing it because it says no device detected.
Jack.
So,
Kim.
how much do you want to work on this versus how much do you want to just grab the task cam?
I'll grab the task cam.
That's kind of what I figured. All right. Well then, I'm gonna go inside.
How do you do
I'll
this?
set that. Sure you can copy that.
Not really. Yeah, I remember because I ran into him in Peters and he told me that. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God! Wow, wow. I had COVID in April, but I was pretty sick for 3 or 4 days, but then it went away. Then I got my second booster. I feel like the bionic woman right now. Hopefully, yeah. So, just.
Check.
Yeah, so it's one. Yeah. And positions just right. Yeah. And then there's just 2 straps. So it's very low.
Check. One. Check.
You can
Check.
tighten it.
Check.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, because I sort of feel like I wonder should we be. But when I do, yoga now.
Let's see what it sounds like. Andy.
Okay, aside from the broken wrist, which I didn't know that too, because I broke it during COVID and every place was closed. I'm listening, they're gonna call me. I know I should have. Look at the camera. Wow. No, I haven't sung yet today, so yeah.
Saving it all for soon, huh?
I'm not, if I had to sing Mabel in the Pirates of Penzance, I would have warmed up, but I'm not doing that today.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the warm sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends
Okay. Oh, oh, that's picking up. Cool. Well, then that's what we want. Is that gonna have a problem with? I guess the stereo doesn't even matter because everything should be coming through both anyway.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye.
the last week on that one hymn, I couldn't make
Yeah, that
myself
was
not
high.
sing.
That was
I could not
hella
make
high.
myself.
Bring Amy in here. Yes.
I'm like, shall I do harmony or an octave lower?
Oh, what are we doing?
For the beauty of it. 21.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Censure myself is what I need to do with it.
We don't need to sing the whole thing, right?
How many verses are we singing?
Well, there's 4 in the thing, but I don't think we need to practice 4.
You gotta check Bill and Chloe also.
Tell me your intro. You ready?
feel like. I'll try to turn my head around a lot. It's good for my neck. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the warm, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Good morning. We're challenged a little bit as to where to look this morning. If people on Zoom are wondering, everybody's sitting over here in the shade, and we will make it through. So, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Utica. I'm Carol Gable, president of the board for UU Utica. Whether you are visiting for the first time or have been a member for many years, you are welcome here. Whatever faith you have known, if any, you are welcome here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. We are invited to bring our whole selves to this worship service, our doubts as well as our convictions, the pain and joy we have known, our longing for connection and understanding. Every part of you is welcome here. Our congregation acknowledges that the land on which UU Utica is situated is the ancestral lands of the Oneida Nation, one of the original nations of the Haudenosaunee, or Iroquois people. If you are visiting us today for the first time, either in person or online, we are glad you have joined us. We would love to learn more about you and connect you with our newsletter if you like. There will be a link in the chat to a form that we hope any online visitors would fill out. And we hope you will stay for informal conversation after the service. And Phil is going to stay with us 15 minutes or so to talk in more depth about what's happening that we can participate in Utica. And I would like to introduce Phil now. And also, welcome to our guest musicians, Amy James and her daughter, Chloe. Thank you so much. If you don't know Phil yet, let me tell you a little about him. He was born and raised here in Utica and has earned degrees from Union College, the University of Rochester, and Oxford. He has had teaching appointments at Hamilton College and Harvard University, and he served for 20 years as a dean at Harvard and Haverford colleges. He returned to Utica in 2019 to become the executive director of the Central New York Conservancy, and he was a resident fellow of Hamilton College's Levitt Center for Public Affairs in 2021. Phil's now retired but serves on the boards of the Landmark Society and Utica Public Library, and as chair of Olmsted City. He'll also be teaching again at Hamilton College this fall. I got to know Phil through our congregation's work supporting the Peace Garden at Proctor Park and have been so impressed by his commitment to helping people appreciate the history and beauty of Utica and find ways to work toward preserving and improving this. We do have one announcement today, really. I want to make sure people realize the next 2 Sundays will be on Zoom only, and there's information in the order of service and the newsletter about those services that are on Zoom only. Then on Sunday, July 17th, we'll be having a church picnic here with Reverend Karen. That'll be from 12 to 2, and instead of a morning service. After that, we'll get back to Sunday services here in person, either out here or inside, depending on the weather. And for the picnic, there's information in the newsletter as to how you can sign up. There's an online link to say what you'll bring, so we can make sure we have a nice variety of food to eat. And please also bring your own plates and utensils so we can cut down on waste. We'll have some things available, plates available for guests and people who may forget. So no worries there. And we'll also have some outdoor games and toys. So please bring any children that you might like to bring. It'd be a great opportunity to get to know Reverend Karen and break bread with our community. So let us now open our hearts and minds to the experience of community and the wisdom of love. We'll start by lighting our chalice. Thank you, Kim. I got it. These words are by Elizabeth Harding. We Unitarian Universalists don't drink from our chalice. Instead, we use it to hold this flame. The circle of the chalice helps us keep the fire small. The flame doesn't blind us. It doesn't burn us. It gives us light so we can see all the different things in the universe, even the invisible ones, because the Unitarian Universalist flame is a light of learning. The flaming chalice is a symbol of learning and love. It is our symbol, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Please join me now in singing our first hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth. It's called Eat the Mic. Oh. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all to thee we raise In honor of this first week of summer, the call to worship this morning are the words by Mary Oliver, the poem by Mary Oliver, The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her faces. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So, yeah, we have a lot to celebrate this week. Well, we have a lot to not celebrate, but it's also Pride Month, and we have not had a chance to talk about the wonderful Pride celebration. So, the children's story today is "'Twas the Night Before Pride," and this will be challenging. Let's see. It's beautiful pictures, and this is in our children's library. Anybody is welcome to take it home. "'Twas the night before Pride, a warm evening in June. All the people got ready with the rise of the moon. The drag queens all brushed their wigs with great care, and the bikers checked their tires to make sure they had air. All across the city, people's outfits were planned and instruments polished for the queer marching band. My mom told us all we should go to bed early. She's that kind of mom who's more boyish than girly. While Mama finished packing our snacks in a bag, Sammy started chewing on the edge of our flag. Sammy's the little baby. As I finished my sign, which I laid on the floor, I remembered the prides I'd been to before. All day we will walk in the streets up and down. Pride's one of the best celebrations around. There are floats and loud music and rainbows and glitter. Last year we ran into our babysitter. Tomorrow will be baby Sammy's first Pride. Can we tell the whole story? I hopefully cried. So we sat on the couch, a mom on each side, and took turns telling of the very first Pride. A long time ago in 1969, there wasn't a Pride March. It was a less fair time. Queer people all over, of each shape and size, didn't have any rights recognized. So much of their lives they had to keep hidden. Even their clothing was sometimes forbidden. Stonewall was a place where it was safe to be proud, but police would storm in to say this wasn't allowed. So one hot night in June, people stopped being quiet. They decided to fight and start a riot. More and more gathered to fight back in the heat. Some started a kick line in the middle of the street. Police broke up the crowd night after night, but the people stood strong, knowing this wasn't right. And so it began, a march that spread worldwide to show everyone it's good to have pride. It sometimes happens we're not given respect. It can take a long time for some to accept. That's why every year we all get together and march in the streets no matter the weather. To know that we matter, to show all we exist, and that any oppression we must always resist. So pride's not just about tutus and rainbow suspenders. It's about rights for queers and all our beautiful genders. Pride's a day that is crowded. It's a day that is long. It's a day that means together we are strong. As I closed my eyes, I thought of Pride's past. Pride means to me, being yourself is a blast. So tomorrow I will march with my family and cheer. Happy Pride to all. It's great my family is here. The end. Happy Pride. Let's see. Thank you, Kim.
Our meditation
is titled Praying by Mary Oliver. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak.
Good morning. Good morning. I think we might need an adjustment. All right, there we go. Okay, how's that? Better? Ooh, better? All right, let's give this a whirl. Okay, so we'll start off today with a passage. This land that was desolate has become like the Garden of Eden. I picked this passage because I don't intend to discuss the Bible, but because it seems to encapsulate what's been on my mind for years. And I'd like to start with a bit of common business, if you will, that originally brought me into the orbit of your congregation. I'm referring, most immediately, of course, to the Peace Garden at Frederick T. Proctor Park. It is literally a garden created on what was previously a site of desolation. Its centerpiece is, is a so-called cistern, a circular stone structure that is an important part of the original fabric of the park. When I first encountered it, it was obscured under a thick mat of weeds. It looked more like an ancient burial ground, a mound rather, than a stone structure originally intended to provide water for sustenance. And once it was uncovered nearly 3 years ago, we found that much of its facing had fallen off. It was a very sad remnant of what had been once one of the most beautiful parks in upstate New York. It was therefore also a sadly striking symbol of the desolation that had overtaken that park since at least the 1970s, perhaps earlier. Widespread neglect that amounted over much of the park to abandonment. Indeed, it was even more than that. It was a symbol of the general decline that had overtaken Utica since the 1960s, which accelerated sharply and alarmingly in the mid-1990s. Like that park in the cistern, Utica was falling apart, people forgotten, large swaths of it being retaken little by nature, haphazardly though, and not to become an Edenic garden. Thanks to the generosity and vision of this congregation and its partners, Indivisible Mohawk Valley and the Interfaith Coalition of Greater Utica, the cistern has not only been restored, but it has been transformed into a giant planter and a centerpiece of a new garden. The cistern is surrounded by a crushed stone path and a new planting bed filled with all sorts of plants, about 250 in all, and I am happy to report that only 5 of these plants didn't make it, which is a pretty good success rate, and I've taken that as a favorable omen. Recently, we also installed 2 benches flanking the cistern. The original plan was to have only 1, but we found resources to install a second so that people can relax and enjoy the spot. And eventually, we'll plant a small stand of trees as a backdrop to this little garden, a pocket park within the park, its own distinctive destination. So on behalf of my group, Olmsted City of Greater Utica, and the people of Utica, I thank you for sharing the vision for this project and for helping to make it a reality. We have already heard words of thanks from an array of park visitors who encounter us as we're going about our business, and we look forward to formally dedicating the park the garden in September. This is a really interesting situation. So, and it hasn't even begun to grow yet. I mean, it'll take 1 or 2 seasons, and eventually we anticipate it will be an even more verdant, beautiful, enticing destination. This project complements other efforts to transform desolation back into a garden. Thanks to an anonymous out-of-town donor, my group recently planted 1,600 plants, trees, shrubs, flowers, grasses, ground covers in the so-called Northside Circle, once and now again a focal point of an 8 to 10 acre part of the park that was completely abandoned at least a half century ago. It will take a while, perhaps years, to realize our ambitions for a fuller restoration of that part of the park to make it fully inviting and useful to visitors again, but the Northside Circle project is another hugely important step forward. I could describe still more of what we're doing and what we hope to do, including a proper restoration of the lily pond, which after serving very well for more than almost 110 years, is showing signs of wear. But my point is to say that we are making headway in transforming land gone entirely wild back into a park, a public garden. So at this point in a discussion, I usually ask a key question. Who cares? Why does any of this matter? The renewal of this park, which serves a representative cross-section of Utica's richly diverse population, symbolizes the increasingly realistic prospects for a renaissance within the wider community. It is easy to feel overwhelmed by the many challenges this community faces, and I'll touch on some of those in a moment. And yet there have been in recent years promising signs of renewal, of movement from desolation to reflowering. The work we're doing at FT Proctor Park can be seen in this light as a sort of metaphor for the renewal of this little city. In addition, the renewal of the park is not just about symbolism or fun and games, although one ought not to discount the importance of fun and games for human development and human sustenance. Indeed, a century and a half ago, Frederick Law Olmsted Sr., the father of the man who designed Utica's parks and parkway system, as well as about a tenth of the city's landmass, concluded that parks have a therapeutic function. Olmsted Sr., the man who basically invented the modern urban public park, did not consider parks luxuries or frippery. He considered them indispensable for the maintenance of a healthy, democratic urban community. He reasoned that modern urban life was stressful, so is the wind, and that people in these cities were becoming physically closer and closer, which is to say they were becoming more and more densely populated, but the social distance between urbanites was expanding in ways that were inconsistent with the needs of a democratic society. He therefore saw parks as common ground for all sorts of people, although he and others like Utica's proctors were most interested in providing common people, the working man in the vernacular of that time, with an opportunity to access nature, as such people had neither the time nor the resources to take flight to the Adirondacks and other increasingly popular bucolic vacation spots. And this, Olmsted reasoned, was important because contact with nature has therapeutic power. He intuited what modern public health researchers have confirmed over the last few decades, that time spent parks and like these can significantly improve physical and mental health. And this, I should hasten to add, is especially important in a community like ours, where so many people, notably among our refugees, but surely not only among them, experience trauma. Just sitting on a park bench can lower your blood pressure, and people report a heightened sense of well-being from doing so. Some studies also suggest that a biodiverse landscape can also increase one's sense of well-being. So what's planted in a park and how it's maintained can make a significant difference in the outcomes. And even living just near one of these parks can have a positive impact. As I suggested earlier, these parks symbolize mounting signs of broader renewal across the community. Most obviously, we have gone from being an increasingly older, less populous community when I was young to one in which the average age is below the state and national averages, and Utica is one of only 3 cities in New York State to register population growth in 2 consecutive US censuses. Utica's growth rate in 2010-2020 alone was 7.6%, almost 4 times the rate of Los Angeles's growth. It's going to take us a little while to catch up with Los Angeles. And we've all heard about much about long neglected real estate and neighborhoods that have been renovated and returned to the tax rolls, and new businesses have started, many, although not all, by our refugee community. And the predominant attitude within this community has gone through a sort of greening. When I was growing up, Utica was an unrelentingly negative place, and even self-loathing, I'm sorry to say. Too many people seem to revel in the perception or the misperception that, quote, nothing ever good happens here, to use a phrase I recall hearing innumerable times. things were hitting a new low, both spiritually and materially, when I was compelled to again leave here in search of opportunity in the mid 1990s. In contrast, one of the reasons why I returned to Utica 3 years ago is because so many people now yearn for and value constructive, positive stories. It's unprecedented in my lifetime. I don't think anyone is interested in being Pollyannish, and that's certainly not my style. But many more of us than any time since the 1950s or 60s now find Utica bashing unattractive, uncool, and unwanted. If Facebook is any gauge, and in this one regard it might be, the most negative things said about Utica emanate from the tongues and the fingertips of people who left here years ago, many of whom live south of the Mason-Dixon line. This change of heart and mind among those who still live here is so very important because the negativity of the second half of the 20th century was profoundly self-disabling. How and why should anyone feel motivated to strive towards positive change when progress is supposedly impossible, uniquely in this town, or worse yet, because this town doesn't deserve a break? What all of this embodies and fosters is a renewal in turn of that most invaluable of intangibles, hope. Civilization, however you define it, grows from hope. Without hope, people cannot aspire and they will not build. Without hope, we will not fulfill, furthermore, one of the most basic things that makes our existence meaningful, to fulfill our potential. How one defines potential is surely open to debate, and the same could be said about defining how to achieve potential, but we are naturally social creatures. So it stands to reason that the corollary to fulfilling our own potential is an imperative to help others fulfill theirs. From my perspective, it is not hard to see something promising in everything I've just described. Harbingers that this land might be emerging from desolation and becoming a Garden of Eden again. True, very real and troubling challenges persist. Utica's poverty rate is still about twice the national average. In addition, the benefits of development do not always distribute with even a rough equality on all within a community. We need, therefore, to ensure that the acute inequities in access to public amenities in this community are evened out. For instance, although the vast majority of Uticans thankfully live within about 10 to 15-minute walk of a park, there's a striking park desert in Lower East Utica. Also, a far disproportionate percentage of Uticans are renters. And this is unhealthy as it retards intergenerational wealth accumulation and the ability to aspire to at least a modicum of autonomy and security. And although it's great that we've increased the stock of quality subsidized housing, including a soon to be renovated Olbiston apartment on Genesee Street, which is a huge victory for the community, we also need some infilling in parts of our city like Cornhill with homes affordable for purchase by people who are currently unable to buy into our private housing market. In addition, Utica schools have been unfairly underfunded by the state of New York for years, and although this injustice has been addressed through court action, we must insist that our resources are invested wisely and in a transparent, appropriate manner that serves the greatest number of our young people. Without rejecting the general positivity of my message today, we therefore need to strive to ensure that the economically underserved enjoy the benefits of whatever change is coming our way over the coming years, that it doesn't remain desolation for one and become a Garden of Eden for others. We live in a community that has so many opportunities to have a powerful impact on the lives of others. At this point in my life, I'm trying to make that impact by nurturing the more positive trends I've described above, at least some of them. My group, Olmsted City, was named intentionally to give people in Utica a positive story to tell about their community, a place that is distinctive among small cities because of its architectural heritage, notably its huge, beautiful parks. Much of that heritage comes to us directly or indirectly from a family, the Proctors, as we all know, that having no children could have passed their wealth on to already wealthy relatives elsewhere, but instead enriched the community by endowing local hospitals and orphanages. They made bequests to historically Black colleges and schools in the Jim Crow South, created a beautiful museum and school of art literally in their backyard, and created parks and parkway systems 70% of the size of Central Park that cradles this town in a beautiful green belt. So I hope you'll pay FT Proctor Park in East Utica, which is a whole 15 minutes away from here. It's a visit and see a demonstration of how together we can and have focused our energies on helping this community move away from desolation and back towards being a place that thrives like a healthy garden. It won't be easy, but as I say, most things worthwhile in life aren't easy. And we should take heart from the wisps of renewal around us and do all we can to nurture them like dedicated gardeners. Thank you.
Thanks for those words of hope, Phil. Much appreciated, especially after this week. Please stand as you are able and join me in singing, or actually Kim and Barb in singing hymn number 1064. Oh, and it's in your teal hymnal book. Blue Boat Home.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, brave and sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, blasting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens and in beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Now, I don't, can you hear? Oh. We will practice community candles, which is an opportunity for the congregation to be with one another as we mark notable things happening in our lives. If you would like to light a candle in person, please come over here and talk into the mic if you want to share it so people can hear and light a candle. While we wait for people to line up here who might like to do that, People online are invited to share, but you should say who you are because we can't see you. But before anybody lights a candle, I want to first. It's just been a really rough week with the darkness descended upon us with these Supreme Court decisions, and I just want to acknowledge how upset I know everybody is, and especially young people who haven't seen the dark history we've come through before. And I know I tell my sons I won't give up. I'll continue to fight for love and justice, and I know you all here will too. So love and justice will prevail. Oh, yes. Anybody online? If you have something online that you'd like to share, please go ahead and introduce yourself and we can hear you.
Judy, you want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Judy Jerome, and I just wanted to let everyone know what, in spite of all of the darkness that we have seen descend this week that Carol was talking about, our church had a wonderful table yesterday at the Utica Pride event. And we had some incredible conversations with people about Unitarian Universalism generally and our church specifically. So we can be grateful that we can continue to support all of the LGBTQ people in our community in this way. And I'd like to thank Branwen and Ken Drake, who really helped in organizing our presence there. So it was a good event. And for me personally, it didn't neutralize all of the bad stuff that happened last week, but it helped a little bit.
Thanks, Judy. People might not have heard the very first couple of seconds you were talking, but I want to let people know that was Judy Jerome, and she was at the UU table at Pride in Utica yesterday and had some really good conversations with people, and then you heard the rest. Thank you.
Hi, can I talk?
Yes, yes.
Hi, I'm Roz Kearney, and I had a fantastic experience on Friday. I went to the Proctor High School graduation. The crowd was more diverse than the UN. It was wonderful.
Okay, if there's no other online joys or concerns, people here might want to come up to the mic and share.
650 kids. Music starts, I'm going to cry, don't worry. And indeed I did. But it was great. It was really great.
Okay, I'm Kim Bywater, and I'm lighting this candle for Alex Jackson because I missed him so terribly, and I'm so grateful for all you do and just for being you.
Well, I don't know how long ago it was, but Phil Beam was on Zoom in one of our services and afterwards had a breakout room. And I said, you know, the climate action team wants to do something with trees. How about Proctor Park? And we discussed that. And he said, how about an on the street program? From there, it went. And I want to celebrate this. Last few weeks, I've been delivering watering pails because the trees need 5 gallons every other day, just about, from May to October for the first 2 years to really thrive. And talking to enthusiastic people who are enjoying the 17 trees that we planted with Utica Rotary, City of Utica, and the Mohawk Valley Community Action Agency. They're just delighted and want to order more, getting their neighbors to order trees so that the whole street has trees. This year, we have a waiting list now, and we are planting 30 trees in November. So it's growing, and it's really heartwarming. And thanks, Phil. And just in case you want to come to the climate action team, it's this afternoon at noon.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say two quick things. Amy James here. And I want to say that I am going to miss Phyllis, who was one of my most steadfast volunteers in the religious education program. And Barb was also so helpful. The people in our community taking care of the youngest people in our community. So just something for Phyllis here. I also want to say that I am proudly a new member of Utica's tax rolls. And I walked to church here this morning. It took me 15 minutes from the house I moved into on Friday. So thank you.
Okay, I'm Jennifer. I just have struggled with addiction for a long time. We'll have 90 days on July 4th, God willing. And I just wanted to light a candle for other people who are suffering with it and those that we have lost.
Now I'm going to light one last candle for any unspoken joys, concerns here with us today. It's now time for our offering. We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure that the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could do alone. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. May we give in love and hope. The offering will now be accepted gratefully. As we come to the end of our time together, Kim will extinguish our chalice, and please join with me in the words in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Light it and unlight it. Keep the light burning. Amen. These last words are by Reverend Karen Johnston, not Reverend Karen Brammer, but Reverend Karen Brammer will be back with her words. What to do with beauty, or joy for that matter, in the midst of tragedy, of violence, of cruelty? What do we do with the living? Give each their due. Do not lose ourselves in any of it, but find ourselves anew. Where there is beauty, amplify it. Where beauty is hidden, reveal it. Where beauty is ruined, restore it. Where beauty is absent, create it. This will be our gift to our aching world. I don't know how you want it. Good? Okay. If I ever had a dream, I would dream of sunny skies of blue, clover 'neath the fields of green, bougainvillea and the roses too. The wind is a symphony, flowing low across the silver sea. We'll sway on a summer breeze. Twinkling shadows form a canopy. No arms to hold you down. Your own dear nature will see you through. If I ever had a dream, it would be for you. If I ever had a wish, butterflies and bumblebees would play, purple moonbeams on the mist, crowds of calla lilies show the way, bush bramble and burbling streams, gurgling gently down a birth of green. How mirthful a melody, sunlight playing on the water's gleam. Somewhere the heart can roam, far from the damage that some can do. If I ever had a dream, it would be for you. Somewhere the heart can roam, far from the damage that some can do. If I ever had a dream, it would be for you. Thank you, Phil and Amy and Chloe and Kim. I'm feeling somewhat restored. I'll make it through another week. And I hope others are feeling restored too. We're going to have breakout rooms on Zoom that Melissa Alex helped with. And did you want me to say something? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I was going to say that. Just, I'll get there. Yeah. So I think I did what I need to. But and also, if people would like to learn a little bit more about Olmsted City celebrations coming up, or work in the Peace Garden, or other wonderful things happening in Utica, Phil's agreed to stick around for 15 minutes and talk with us. We can gather in the shade over here.
So if people on Zoom want to join that conversation, we should gather here in the tent.
Oh.
And those people should stay in the main room. So
tell people
Oh, all right.
to stay
Okay.
in the main room if they want to chat with.
We're going to let people in the main room, in the Zoom, join us for this little chat with Phil if you would like, also by staying in the main room, and we will pull our little chairs up under the tent here. And yeah, so thank you, everybody.
Shut up that speaker and keep this one on. And other people can chat over there. We'll just have the one in speaker. Done. Turn off the computer if people want to chat. How many people are still here? You can make like literally a breakout room. People want to and not stay here. Oh. We can clear the music stuff and stuff, but we actually probably want to keep at least one camera and one mic because that's also how we use the Zoom.
That we want to set up this way because of the sun in the summer.
Apparently.
And we want to put the speakers there and there in front of the
soundboard. Okay. That's fine. I don't know how we did it last year. Maybe it's because we ran later. I think that's what it was. We didn't even get started.
Maybe there was no sun.
We didn't get started until late July last year, I don't think, and then did like August and September. So the sun's probably just in totally different places. We're probably going to adjust like every 3 weeks. But who knows? Thought we were going to start earlier. You want me to do that? If everyone wants to ask Phil? Like, let us know if anybody wants to act. Are we unmuted? Hey, folks online, if you could let us know visually out loud or in the chat if you're interested in chatting with Phil. We're pulling that together now. If not, then that's fine. We'll leave you to chat amongst yourselves. We just need to know.